Hello everyone, welcome to Oliveboard. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about the finance current affairs for the entire September 2025 month. So this will be a very important video for all of you because we are going to discuss here 130 plus MCQs. It will be completely exam oriented. All the finance current affairs of your September 2025 month I'll be covering in this particular session. So let's quickly start with the discussion. Would request from you guys to please let me know the correct answer in the comment section. That will be best approach, right? The very first question for today is, what is the revised minimum net worth requirement for custodian under the SEBI's amended custodian regulation? So recently SEBI has revised the custodian requirement net worth, right, in the custodian regulation. So what is the new limit, guys? The new limit is 75 crore. Okay, the new limit is 75 crore. Earlier it used to be 50 crore, and now it is 75 crore. Okay, the new limit is 75 crore is the correct choice. And what is the transition period allowed to the existing custodians to comply with the new net worth requirement? So the new custodians that will be coming into the market will need to have at least 75 crore of net worth. However, what about the old one? They will be given a transition period of at least 3 years. Okay, option C here is the correct choice. 3 years will be the transition period. Now this news can be very important for your upcoming RBI Grade B examination. Next one. As per the RBI's basic statistical return BSR1, data on credit, right? BSR1 is always related to credit. The bank reported sharp growth in certain loan categories. Among these, which sector saw the highest growth in terms of the bank credit? Which sector saw the highest growth in terms of the bank credit? It was personal loans. Okay, it was the personal loans. Next one is related to BSR2. So BSR2 is related to a report on deposits. Which type of deposit formed the largest share in the total bank deposits? It was term deposits, right? It was term deposits. Next one. Which bank has recently launched its dedicated startup centric branch, right? So a particular bank has launched a dedicated startup centric branch recently in the month of September 2025. So it was Punjab National Bank, right? It was Punjab National Bank. Next one. So recently a major Indian bank has signed a 100 million euro line of agreement with this particular AFD entity in the gift city Gandhinagar to boost the sustainable lending across the country. Which bank has signed this particular line of credit of 100 million euros? Which was the bank? It was option C, State Bank of India. Okay, State Bank of India has signed a green credit arrangement with the AFD. So we can see here SBI has secured 100 million euro line of credit from the AFD for the green financing, right? Next one is in a collaborative initiative, India's market institutions have recently launched a competitive platform to foster innovative technological solutions. Can you tell me the name of the initiative which is jointly launched by SEBI, CDSL, NSDL, KFintech and NSE? So recently they have made a collaborative effort to launch a joint initiative. So SEBI, CDSL, NSDL, both the depositories, the KFintech and NSE. So KFintech and CAMS is basically RTAs, registered and transfer agents. The correct answer here is option C, Securities Market Hackathon. Okay, Securities Market Hackathon. So please do remember this name of the hackathon. It is a joint effort of these institutions, right? Next one. By how much did the industrial production increase year on year basis in July 2025? So this is the data of IIP July 2025. It was 3.5%. Okay, you need to remember the data which is latest one. Okay, so we'll be discussing about the latest data as well. In the major overall of the indirect taxation, the GST Council has simplified the structure. Can you describe which of the following statements best capture the nature of this particular reform? Which of the following statements best capture the nature of this particular reform? The correct choice is a dual slab system was introduced, right? A dual slab rate was introduced. Now there are 5%, 18% slab and a demerit slab of 40% is also there. Acha, which of the following category now enjoys full GST exemption under the revised regime? Here the correct choice is life and health insurance policies, right? Life and health insurance policies is the correct choice, option C. Next one. By how much did the net claims of the non-resident decline during first quarter of 25-26? I am talking about the India's international investment position. By how much did the net claims decline during the first quarter of financial year 2026? So it was declined by 16.4 billion USD, right? 16.4 billion USD. And what was the ratio of India's international asset to the liabilities as of June 2025? So it was 79.2. It was 79.2. So we have discussed this particular data which was released on the RBI's website on 30th September 2025 related to the international investment position. What is international investment position? How much assets India is having in the offshore countries, right? In the foreign countries, and how much the foreign countries are having in India. So whatever they are investing in India is a liability for us. Whatever we are investing in their country is an asset for us, right? So this is the data that you need to remember. Next one. What is the new extended deadline for PM Swanidhi scheme? So basically it's a welfare scheme, and recently a new extended deadline was released for the PM Swanidhi scheme. It is option C, 31st March 2030, right? 31st March 2030 is the new timeline here. What is the revised first tranche loan amount of the PM Swanidhi scheme? So the revised first tranche loan is now 15,000, right? So earlier it used to be 10,000, now it is 15,000. Right, so the first tranche limit was increased to 15,000. The new limit is 15,000, and the second tranche is now 25,000. The third tranche remains the same, only 50,000. So the first tranche limit was increased from 10,000 to 15,000. Second one was increased from 20,000 to 25,000. Basically, both the tranche limits are increased by 5,000, and the third tranche limit remains the same at 50,000 rupees. Right, the timeline will be March 2030, right? March 2030 will be the timeline. Next one. This marked a 6-month high of the sector for this particular industrial subsector, showing a renewed momentum post slowdown. So by how much did the manufacturing output grow in July 2025? How much the manufacturing output grow in July 2025? The correct choice here is option C, 5.4%, right? 5.4%. Next one, what was the real GDP growth rate in April to June quarter of financial year 2025? So this is for the first half year of the financial year 2026. Not the half year, actually, quarter one, right? April to June. April, May, June, quarter one of financial year 2026. What was the GDP growth rate? It was 7.8%, which is quite good. 7.8%. Okay, option B. Next one. In the recent quarter, which of the following was not among the main contributor to the India's GDP growth? healthy private consumption, elevated government spending, strong FDI inflows. Which of the following was not among the main contributor to the India's GDP growth? Any idea, guys? Anyone in the comment section? Here the correct choice will be option D, only 3. Okay, strong FDI inflows was not among the main contributor. Rest, healthy private consumption and elevated government spending is the correct one. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the India's FDI scenario in June 2025? In June 2025, the gross FDI into India surged, reaching 9.26 US billion. Net FDI, the balance after accounting for the outward investment and repatriation, dropped by more than 50%. Underlying causes for sharp net FDI decline are outward FDI and repatriation. So here, which of the following are correct? All of the above are correct, right? All of the statements related to FDI in June 2025 are completely correct. Next one. RBI has launched a scheme to reduce the large pool of unclaimed deposits. So this is again a part of your RBI circular, or I can say it's there in the RBI website. So they want to reduce the unclaimed deposit and reactivate the dormant account. For this particular thing, what duration will this scheme be operational? Basically, they have launched an incentive scheme for the banks so that the unclaimed deposits can be claimed by the respective genuine depositors and the dormant account should be reactivated. For that purpose, there is a scheme which was recently launched. It was a incentive scheme basically for the banks. So what is the timeline? The timeline is 1st of October 2025 to 30th September 2026. So they have given 1 year, and in this 1 year you will be getting whatever you are contributing, whatever unclaimed deposits you have kind of helped the depositors to claim them, you will be getting a percentage of that deposit, right, as an incentive. Which rate has RBI maintained as the operational target of the monetary policy under the revised framework? So they have revised the liquidity management framework. We have done a internal review report as well, and the final findings of the internal review report are that they will be maintaining the WACR as the operational target of monetary policy, right? WACR, weighted average call rate, will be staying the operational target. Next one, under the revised framework, which tenure of VRR or VRRR will now be primarily used? Earlier we are using 14-day, now we will transition towards 7-day for the betterment, right? For the betterment, 7-day VRR, VRRR auctions will work better than the 14-day auction. Now these news can be very, very important, guys. Okay. Next one. What is the minimum percentage of the prescribed CRR that the bank are required to maintain on a daily basis? So that's 90%, right? So this is from the revised liquidity management framework. It was published on 30th September 2025 on the RBI website, and this news is going to be super duper important for your RBI Grade B examination. Please don't ignore this one. Next one. The RBI recently signed a renewed statement of commitment to which of the international code? This was related to Forex. The name of the institution was FX Global Code, right? FX Global Code. So RBI has renewed the commitment to the FX Global Code here. They have signed a renewed statement of commitment to the FX Global Code. Auto investing is gaining traction among the retail investors. The Digital First Bank has announced the launch of a unique product, Savings Pro. Now this is India's first auto investing savings account, and which bank has launched this initiative? Which bank becomes the first one to launch this particular initiative? Any idea, guys? The bank was Jio Payments Bank. Okay, bank was Jio Payment Banks, can be important. Next one. What was the HSBC's India manufacturing PMI value for the August 2025? So for the August 2025, the HSBC India manufacturing PMI was 59.3. 59.3. India's GDP growth achieved a strong showing of one of the segment of the economy, right? Because of one of the segment of the economy, there was a great contribution in the India's GDP growth. Which sector was the biggest contributor to the recent GDP growth acceleration? It was the service sector, right? It was the service sector. Despite a strong service performance and increase in the remittances, India's current account turned to deficit again in Q1 of financial year 2026. So Q1 2026 current account deficit was in deficit, right? The current account was in deficit. There was a CAD. What was the record CAD balance in? What was the recorded CAD balance in Q1 of financial year 2026? The deficit was $2.4 billion, right? $2.4 billion was the deficit. It was 0.2% of GDP, okay? It was 0.2% of the GDP. So this was from the developments in India's BOP relating to the Q1 of financial year 2026, sorry, apologies, 2026 of Q1, April, May, June quarter basically. So this data was also published on 1st of September 2025, right? Next one. For June 2025, the score reflects what kind of score? Supervisory Data Quality Index. It was SDQI score was published recently about the June 2025. The last data was published in March 2025. The new data is now June 2025. So which will be important for your examination. June 2025 data will be very, very crucial for your examination. So what was the SDQI score for SCBs, scheduled commercial banks, for June 2025? Very, very important. $89.9 is the correct choice. Okay, option A, $89.9. And which component showed the highest number in June 2025? Out of the SDQI components, there are a lot of components. Which one showed the highest number in June 2025? It was completeness, right? It was completeness. Acha, tell me which of the category of the bank has recorded the highest number on the SDQI in June 2025 data? It was small finance bank. It was small finance bank, right? So we have seen the recent data is 89.9. This is for the scheduled banks, right? Scheduled commercial banks. The highest among the categories is small finance bank, which is 90.7. And among the scheduled commercial bank, the highest criteria or category will be completeness, right? So these things you need to remember. And do remember, accuracy, timeliness, completeness and consistency are the 4 parameters through which we determine the SDQI data, right? Next one. Which of the following related to the PM Swanidhi scheme are true? Only second and third, right? First tranche loan was revised to 15,000. Do you remember, guys? From 10,000 it was 15,000, and it offers working capital loan to the street vendors as well. So these two are true, right? Third tranche was 25,000 and second tranche was revised to 25,000 and third one was revised is still 50,000. Okay, so there was a revision in the first and second tranche only. Next one. What was the total transaction value recorded in August 2025 under the UPI? Total transaction value. I'm talking about value, not volume. It was 24.85 lakh crore. Okay, it was 24.85 lakh crore, right? Certain category of the goods and services do not attract any GST at all, Which of the following qualifies as a zero rated supply under the GST? Zero rated supply under the GST. What do you think, guys? Is a zero rated supplier? Intrastate sales of exempt goods, supply of goods to SEZ, Special Economic Zone, tax-free supply of alcohol or outward supply by unregistered dealer, domestic sales of essential commodities. Here the correct answer here will be supply to the SEZ, right? So exports and SEZ are two of the zero rated suppliers, right? So option B here is the correct choice. Next one, which of the following goods would most likely to be taxed in the demerit rate? So we all know that it is luxury cars and tobacco, right? It is luxury car and tobacco. Now you need to tell me the Q1 2026 current account deficit. Q1 of financial year 2026 current account deficit, it was 2.4 billion US dollar, right? It was 2.4 billion US dollar. Next one, which of the following statement is correct related to the Q1 position of financial year 2026? The first statement, service exports surged, aided by growth in the business and computer services. Merchandise trade surged, improving the goods trade position over the previous year. Remittance inflows increased, cushioning the existing external account. Everyone in the comment section, which of the following statement are incorrect? You need to tell the incorrect statement. The incorrect statement is the second one, merchandise trade deficit was on a downfall, not on a surge, right? Next one. India's balance of payment surplus during the Q1 of financial year 2027 was how much? 2026 was how much? So Q1 financial year 2026. What was the BOP balance of payment? So it was 4.5 billion US dollar, 4.5 billion US dollar, right? Which financial inflows provided the highest support to the BOP in Q1 of financial year 2026? Which of the following provided the highest financial inflow? Which sector provided the highest financial inflow? So it was foreign direct investment, right? It was FDI. So this is from the BOP data of the first quarter of financial year 2026. So again, it was released on 1st of September on the RBI website. Can be important for your examination as well, right? I have marked all the relevant details from this data. What is the revised per transaction limit under the UPI for the capital market, insurance and government e-marketplace transaction? Because NPCI has recently revised the UPI limits. Now what is the revised limit per transaction limit for capital market, insurance, governance e-marketplace? The revised market is now at, the revised rate is at 5 lakh rupees, right? This is the per transaction limit. 5 lakh rupees is the per transaction limit. Which of the following statements are correct? The new UPI limits apply only to P2M transaction, person to merchant with verified merchants. P2P transaction limit remains unchanged. Or third one, enforcement deadline for banks and PSPs is 15th of September 2025. Here all the above statements are correct. All the above statements here are correct. Acha guys, tell me in the comment section what is the daily cap. I'm talking about the daily cap for the UPI based credit card payments. Daily cap for the UPI based credit card payments. It is 6 lakh now. It is 6 lakh now, right? So this will also be very, very important for your examination. NPCI has revised the UPI limits. Please do this particular finance current affairs very well, right? This is the summary chart of each and every limit that you need to know. Next one. Which category of authorized dealer has now been permitted to transact in the non-deliverable derivative contract in DDCs? Which category of authorized dealer has been permitted to transact in the rupee non-deliverable derivative contract? It is the AD category 3. It is the AD category 3 now, right? So recently the participation of the standalone primary dealer, earlier it used to be only category 1, now they have extended it to the category 3 as well. Okay. Acha, now tell me from which date the RBI direction related to the digital payment transaction authentication will take effect for the domestic transaction. What is the timeline from which this direction are going to be effective? The timeline here is 1st of April 2026, right? So from the next financial year, 1st of April 2026, it is applicable. The memory technique is next financial year start. Okay, next financial year start. So what I'll advise you guys is, those circulars that are having the 1st of April 2026, just write next financial year start and try to write the name of each and every circular in your copy. So again, it will definitely help you retaining this particular dates. What about the RBI's authentication direction for non-recurring cross-border CNP transactions? So the date is 1st of October 2026, okay, for the non-recurring CNP transactions. As per the latest mandate, what is the minimum authentication standard required for the digital payment transaction unless you are exempted? So that's two-factor authentication, right? That's a two-factor authentication. And let's suppose if the card is not present physically in the transaction, so at least one of the two-factor authentication mein se one at least should be dynamic or transaction specific, right? It can be OTP, it can be anything else, but it need to be dynamic, right? It needs to be dynamic. Tell me what was the overall trend observed in the microfinance disbursement in Q1 of financial year 2026. Overall trend which was observed in the microfinance disbursement in Q1 of financial year 2026. It was 23.6% year on year decline. Okay, option A. Which fintech entity was recently acquired by a global e-commerce company, right? Amazon has basically acquired a fintech company recently. It was an NBFC company, right? This acquisition comes with a NBFC license for the Amazon now. It was Axio, okay, option B. Next one, in the Indian corporate landscape, different types of entities define their governance and ownership structure. One of such type is an associate company. What is the meaning of associate company? Now, this is not from your finance current affairs, but it is related to your finance current affairs. Okay, so that's why I'm covering it. Again, it will be part of your basics of accounting. Okay, it will be part of your basics of accounting. The correct choice here will be option E, influence, not a control, right? Because that's an associate company. So I am having 20% or more than 20%, but up to 50%, right? So that's the range of associate company. Above 50%, it will be a subsidiary company. So in associate, we do have a significant influence. In subsidiary, we do have a significant control. That's the difference. Next one. Which of the following organization is India's UPI being integrated? Important, very, very important. It is the Universal Postal Union, UPU, right? Universal Postal Union is the organization with which the India's UPI is going to be integrated, right? Acha, tell me which are the stakeholders of this UPI UPU integration. Now there is an integration between the UPI technology and the UPU. So what are the stakeholders? Which entities are the stakeholders here? Which entities are the stakeholders here, guys? The correct choice here is option B, DOP, NIPL and UPU. So DOP means Department of Post, NPCI, International Payments Limited, and UPU, they are the stakeholders here. This news is very, very important for your examination purpose. Next one, again important. What is the WMA, Ways and Means Advances limit set by the RBI for the half year 2 of financial year 2026? So half year 1 is already done. What is the WMA limit for the half year 2 for financial year 2026? It is 50,000 crore, right? It is 50,000 crore, and once the government has utilized 75% of it, then the RBI can ask the government to utilize some other facility of loan, right? This is from the RBI website, published on 26 September. Please do remember this one. A question related to this was already there in your previous year question, right? So can be important. This is the half year 2 data of financial year 2026. A recent RBI study spanning 10 years period identified that the Indian states that are consistently leading the number of bank finance projects. Which state has topped the chart for the banks backed project during financial year 2015 to 2025? Which was the state here? The correct choice here will be, guys, option C, Gujarat, right? Option C, Gujarat. Next one. The NPCI has granted TPAP approval to new fintech firms that aim to revolutionize the rural payment through UPI based platform. Its flagship product is tailored for underserved segment. So Vidyona fintech UPI platform is primarily designed to serve which of the following group? They are primarily designed to serve the farmers, small merchants and local communities, right? From when will be the SEBI's new intraday position monitoring framework for index option will be effective? Important. Very, very important. It is effective from 1st of October 2025, right? It's already effective. Next one. What is the intraday net possession limit per entity under the new SEBI framework? So the net limit is 5,000 crore. Okay, net limit is 5,000 crore. Net limit is 5,000 crore. So this is from the SEBI's new intraday possession monitoring framework. The net possession limit is 5,000 crore. The gross possession limit is 10,000 crore. And you need to take 4 random snapshots, right? 4 random snapshots, including one during the peak activity, which is 2:45 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. right? Okay, so again you need to remember this one as well. Bandhan AMC has received the SEBI's final approval to launch the India's first SIF. SIF is Specialized Investment Fund. So Bandhan AMC will be launching the India's first Specialized Investment Fund. Anything related to SIF will be very, very important, right? Next one. The SEBI has unveiled a new framework designed to simplify the participation of the trusted foreign investors, which one of the provision is an extended validity period of registration. So they have extended the period of validity registration as well. For how many years will such registration remain valid? It will be valid for 10 years, right? 10 years. So this is from the SEBI's Swagat FI reform and FPI rule change. Swagat means single window, automatic and generalized access for trusted foreign investors. Please do remember this one, right? Very, very important for your examination. Which entity entered into partnership with SIDBI to digitize the MSME system support system? It was PhonePe, right? It was PhonePe. So PhonePe and SIDBI has entered into a digital Udyam Assist registration as well. This will be end-to-end digital solution for the Udyam registration via the Udyam Assist platform, right? Important. Public sector enterprises often collaborate with banks to accelerate the digital transformation. Which two entities has recently signed a MOU, which was a one telecom consultancy under the Government of India, with a major public sector banks to provide IT solutions and strengthening digital infrastructure? It was TCIL and PNB, right? TCIL, Telecommunication Consultants India Limited, and Punjab National Bank, they have signed an MOU. Next one. Two entities have formed a partnership. The partnership was related to physical AI. So in September 2025, a partnership was announced to jointly work on physical AI for industrial transformation, combining robotics, AI and intelligent systems. Which two entities formed this particular partnership? Any idea? It was TCS and CEA, right? TCS and CEA. Next is for the INVITs, can be important. What is the new minimum investment size fixed under this regulatory change? What kind of regulatory change was? The minimum ticket size in one category of the INVIT was sharply reduced, bringing in line with the secondary market requirement. The new limit here is 25 lakhs. This is very, very important question. Anything related to INVITs and REITs will be very, very important for your examination. Earlier it used to be 1 crore. Now it is just 25 lakhs, right? And this reduction will apply to private placed market, right? Privately placed market. So earlier it used to be 1 crore. Now it is just 25 lakhs. So minimum investment size in the privately placed INVIT is reduced to 25 lakh. What is the minimum period for which such comments must be invited? What kind of comments? Consultation. So RBI, let's suppose, has published a particular draft direction. They need to have certain consultation period. 21 day, right? 21 day. And Central Bank has announced creation of a dedicated unit that will be assessing its own regulatory framework. So whatever things RBI is publishing, that framework is reviewing it. That particular committee unit will be reviewing it. How frequently they will review the mandated things to take place in 5 to 7 years. In 5 to 7 years, they will be definitely reviewing it. The name of the unit, the name of the cell is Regulatory Review Cell, RRC, Regulatory Review Cell, and which is the department in which the RRC will operate? It is the Department of Regulation. Okay, option E, Department of Regulation. How many members will be part of this advisory group? Everyone in the comment section. How many members will be part of this advisory group? 6, right? Option C, 6. Next one. Indian banks frequently introduce tailored products for NRIs, right? One such product was launched by Bank of Baroda to allow the individuals planning to move abroad to pre-open a saving account in India, right? Which later becomes fully functional after NRI status is confirmed. What kind of product is this? This is a BOB Aspire product. BOB Aspire. Insurance penetration in India is still low, attracting global reinsurer companies to enter through the partnerships. In September 2025, a joint venture in the reinsurance space was created, combining two large Indian financial groups with a European insurance major, right? So, an Indian company collaborated with a European insurance major, which two entities came together to form this particular joint venture. Any idea? Important, very, very important. It was Geo Financial Services and Alliance Group, right? Geo Financial Services and Alliance Group. The World Bank recently approved a loan of 212 million USD under the SHORE program. What does this SHORE program stands for? It stands for strengthening the coastal resilience and economy, right? Strengthening the coastal resilience and the economy. And which two states are the direct beneficiaries of this particular loan? So the states are Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, right? Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. India is increasingly collaborating with the foreign defense tech firms to localize the advanced system. Now recently, an Indian manufacturing major has signed a MOU with a UK based firm to deploy and localize ultra unmanned aerial vehicles, basically drones. Which Indian entity has signed this MOU? So Bharat Forge Limited has signed this MOU. Transitioning to green mobility is attracting global investors. Important. The International Financial Corporation IFC recently announced a significant investment of total 137 million USD will be directed into companies supporting electric mobility. This investment is specifically for the electric bus ecosystem, right? It is for the electric bus ecosystem. Institutions in India are being digitalized to improve efficiency and competitiveness against the NBFCs and MFI. NABARD has taken the initiative to roll out a new centralized digital platform that will automate the loan sanction and disbursement process. This particular platform is aimed at supporting which category of the banks? Which category of the banks are being supported by this particular platform? It is the regional rural banks, right? RRBs will be supported here. In September 2025, the government has announced two major surveys under the MOSPI to be carried out in the coming years. The surveys were All India Debt and Investment Survey. That's the first one, and the second one was Situation Assessment Survey, right? These were the two surveys. And what will be the duration specified for these surveys? So the duration was July 2026 to June 2027. July 2026 to June 2027. Right? So government has conducted two key economic surveys. Please do remember the name of these surveys and the period. Next one. A newly announced infrastructure risk guarantee fund will be overseen by a specialized institution created for financing infrastructure projects. Which organization has been designated as the implementation body for this particular fund? Easy and important. Obviously, it is NAPFID, right? It's the institution related to the infrastructure. At the end of the March 2025, what was the India's external debt level? So this is the data of March 2025 month. We were having a external debt level of 736.3 billion USD. 736.3 billion USD, right? Which two fintech firms have partnered to expand India's reach in the cross-border remittance solution? Right, so they will be they are aiming to simplify the settlement flows for importers, for exporters, for freelancers dealing with the international clients. which two entities have entered into this particular partnership. It was Pay RuPay and Brisk Pay, right? Acha, tell me this one. The government of India and a multilateral lender have agreed on funding to improve the basic urban infrastructure in the Northeast. The loan will support the water treatment, drainage, climate resilient system across the multiple towns. Which state is the focus of this USD 125 million loan pact? It is the Assam, right? Option C, Assam. A Japanese credit rating agency has revised the India's long-term sovereign credit rating upward. So what is the new upgraded rating? It is triple B plus. It is triple B plus. CPI data for August 2025 month. Very easy. CPI data for August 2025 month, guys. CPI data, Consumer Price Index data, it is 2.07%. Earlier it used to be 1.61% in July. Now it's up and it is up to 2.07%. In August 2025 core inflation, what was the level of core inflation of August 2025? It was 4.2, right? It was 4.2. WPI, what was the data of WPI in August 2025? So this is the recently published data. You need to remember this. अगर सितंबर मंथ का डेटा आ जाता है तो आपको सितंबर मंथ का भी याद रखना पड़ेगा, राइट? It was 0.52%. 0.52%. In July, it was in the deflationary territory. Now it is 0.52%. Right? Recently, the application window has been opened for the white goods segment comprising of ACs and LED lights. This initiative is a part of which scheme? This initiative is a part of production linked incentive scheme. Right? Acha, tell me this one. What GDP level could India achieve by 2035 as per a report? As per a report, Niti Aayog has highlighted the transformative AI potential. So what kind of AI is having a potential regarding the adoption and innovation in India, which can help India to achieve a GDP growth of what by 2035? Of 8.3 trillion US dollar. Okay, 8.3 trillion US dollar. Next one. RBI has strengthened the regulatory payment aggregator framework. So there is a new framework regarding the payment aggregator which is out. What initial net worth requirement and the increased level is required to be maintained can be very, very important. Directly from the RBI circular, right? This is from the RBI circular. The correct answer here will be option E. 15 crore initially. If you want to start a payment aggregator business, you need 15 khoka initially and you need to raise it to 25 crore by the end of third year. By the end of third year, you need to raise it, right? Next one. SEBI has introduced a mega reform package for the capital market. Consider the following statement and let me know which of the following statements are not correct. You need to identify the incorrect statement here. Incorrect statements. The incorrect statements here are None of the above. All the statements are the correct one only. Okay, so none of the above, right? So SEBI has announced the mega plans. So I have given the live mint screenshot as well from the live mint newspaper. Right, we have discussed this in the finance current affair, plus I have given you a tabular format of whatever things we have discussed. Next one. Governance reforms important introduced by SEBI also cover the stock exchanges and market infrastructure institutions. You need to tell me how many executive directors must be appointed to oversee a key vertical now. The correct choice here is option B, 2 executive directors, right? 2 executive directors. Regulatory changes have also impacted the classification of REITs and INVITs. You need to consider the following statements and tell the correct one. You need to tell the correct statement from the following statements here. The correct statement here is REIT will now be treated as equity for the mutual fund investment purpose. Very, very important for your examination, right? Very, very important. Don't ignore this one. Next one. The new minimum investment size for LAVs, large value funds. I'm talking about the AIF. So the new minimum investment size for LAVs is 25 crore. Earlier it used to be 70 crore. Now they have reduced it to 25 crore. Important. What is the IFC's target investment in India by 2030? Right, International Finance Corporation is scaling up its commitment in India. So what is the target for the financial year 2030? The target is $10 billion, right? $10 billion. Next one. Which of the following statements here are covered under the mandate? What is the mandate? Cyber security audits have now been made mandatory for the entities involving virtual digital assets. So this is again related to your cryptocurrencies, related to the blockchain. So the cyber security audit is now mandatory for all the categories where virtual digital asset service providers, crypto exchange, custodians, intermediaries and all. Next one. Infrastructure development requires a risk mitigation mechanism to attract private as well as the institutional investors. To address this, the government has announced creation of a fund that will cover non-commercial losses in the large projects. What is the size of this particular guaranteed fund? The size of this fund is 20,000 crore, right? 20,000 crore. In mid-September, what was the Forex reserve? The mid-September Forex reserve data was 702.9.66 billion dollar, right? According to the OECD, what is the India's projected real GDP growth rate for the financial year 2026? It is 6.7%, right? 6.7%. One of the India's bank has recently expanded its e-rupee. Important, very, very important for your phase 1. E-rupee to person transaction through its mobile payment application. Which bank has launched this particular facility related to e-rupee? It is Bank of Baroda, right? It is Bank of Baroda. Insurance sector regulator is building a unified digital marketplace, right? What is the name of this initiative which is related to your unified digital marketplace? Everyone in the comment section, guys. What is the name here? The name here is Bima Sugam, right? Bima Sugam. Option B. The advisory group, the regulatory review cell basically under the Department of Regulation of RBI will be chosen as who is chosen as the head of this advisory group. So it is Mr. Rana Ashutosh Kumar Singh, right? The governance of the unified insurance marketplace will be managed through a body. What is the name of that body? Bima Sugam India Federation. Bima Sugam India Federation. Right? A leading Indian payment aggregator has become the first one to offer Apple Pay integration. So this is the first payment aggregator who has offered the Apple Pay integration. Which is the one? Any idea? Which is the one? The correct choice here is Razorpay, right? Razorpay. Acha, tell me the new daily aggregate ceiling for merchant transaction. Large value transaction related to credit card. I think this is a repeated question. The limit is 6 lakhs only, right? This is a repeated question. What maximum percentage can now be allocated to equities under the single scheme in NPS? If you are a non-government subscriber, now you can allocate up to 100%. And for how many years the subscription is there to of your years of your subscription, you will be having an exit option if you are a non-government subscriber. 15 years, right? So we have completed this one. These are the proposed changes by the PFRDA basically. Next one. RBI has broadened the list of commercial banks eligible to act as agency banks for the government receipts. One foreign origin bank with strong India presence was authorized to collect GST on behalf of the government. Which is the one? It is DBS Bank, right? It is DBS Bank. Acha, tell me this one. Which two organization has signed a MOU related to building a quantum value chain map? Quantum value chain map. It is IGFN QETCI. Next one, what is the reported growth rate related to August 2025? I'm talking about the index of 8 core industry. So index of 8 core industry growth rate was 6.3%. A tool which enables real-time shipment visibility across multiple models is expected to aid the MSMEs, right? So Ministry of Commerce and Industry has launched this particular tool. What is the upgraded system called as? It is LDB 2.0. LDB 2.0. Next one. India's financial market regulators are exploring new derivative products to deepen the market participation. Which underlying is being considered for this new derivative contract? It is the corporate bond index, right? It is the corporate bond index. So this was from the Economic Times news that we covered. Now, insurance ombudsman related data was released, and one private health insurer was having the highest amount of complaints, more than 13,000. So it was Star Health and Allied Insurance, right? So this is from the insurance ombudsman report for the financial year 2024 that we covered, right? Tell me this one. Recently, a single unified appellate forum for the second level appeals under the GST was recently launched. Which is the one? Which is the one? Important. Very, very important for your examination, guys. It is the Goods and Service Tax Appellate Tribunal, right? GST 80. Please do remember this. High chances that this will come in your examination. Acha, tell me this one. Each bench of the GST Appellate Tribunal will consist of which of the following members? So there will be 2 members from the judicial. There will be 1 technical member from the center and 1 technical member from the state will be there, right? As per the MPC meeting, what is the GDP growth projection for financial year 2026? Very, very important, and it is now at 6.8%. From the last meeting, in the last meeting, GDP growth rate was decided at 6.5% estimated, and now the estimate has changed to 6.8% now, right? So this is from the RBI Monetary Policy Committee meeting. We all know that the repo rate is unchanged, all the rates are same. Policy stance is neutral, right? GDP projection for 2026 is 6.8 and for 2027 is 6.4, right? If I talk about the inflation projection, then it is 2.6 for the financial year 2026, and for the financial year 2027 it is for the first quarter it is 4.5, right? What was the total outward remittances under the LRS in the July 2025? So the LRS were $2.45 billion. $2.45 billion. The fall in the LRS outflows was primarily driven because of which segment? Let me know in the comment section, guys, quickly. Because of travel and overseas, right? Travel and overseas education. Next one. What is the total gross market borrowing via dated securities pegged for half yearly to for financial year 2026 by Government of India? That is 6.77 lakh crore, right? 6.77 lakh crore. Acha, tell me which two organizations have jointly launched India's first AI driven equity fund. Very, very important for your phase 1. The name here is Paytm Money and Geo BlackRock, right? Geo BlackRock. So the name of the fund is Geo FlexiCap. Which fintech firm has Bank of India partnered to launch BOI Trade Easy? So BOI Trade Easy is just there to strengthen the MSME financing ecosystem, right? So Cash Invoice is the one. Cash Invoice is the fintech firm with the BOI has partnered. Tell me the OECD's revised GDP growth forecast for 2025 and 2026 respectively. It is 6.7% and 6.2% respectively, right? We have also covered this news in the finance current affairs session. Indian travelers can now use the UPI in which country as approved in September 2025. So we have covered this in last week wala thing. Qatar, right? Qatar is the new country in which you are now free to use UPI as well. Next one. Which organization has the National Urban Cooperative Finance and Development Council partnered with for the purpose of enhancing the digital penetration and the adoption in the small banks, right? It is CSC E-Governance Services India Limited. The Reserve Bank of India has released a new guideline for the net claim settlement for related to the deceased bank customers. By when the banks are required to adopt these norms? They are required to adopt these norms by 31st March 2026. 31st March 2026, right? Next one. Which two entities have signed this MOU to combat cyber crimes and financial fraud linked to the telecom infrastructure? They are the Department of Telecommunication, DOT, and FIUIND. Tell me the IIP data in August 2025. What was the year-on-year growth rate of the India's IIP in August 2025, everyone? It was 4%, right? 4%. From which date SEBI has mandated to use dedicated UPI address for registered intermediaries? Now there is a particular handle that the registered intermediaries need to use after this particular circular. So from which date it is compulsory? From 1st of October 2025, it is mandatory. Acha, mercanting trade transactions MTT are used by the Indian traders to buy and sell the goods without physically entering into India, right? So what is the maximum time allowed for the forex outlay in case of MTT? Now it is recently revised, right? RBI has recently revised this timeline to provide more flexibility. Earlier it used to be 4 months, now it is 6 months, right? Now it is 6 months. Very, very important. This one is very, very important. Next, to strengthen the resilience of the banking sector, RBI has proposed a forward-looking provisioning framework. What is this new framework called as? Forward-looking provisioning framework. Now this is also a framework which is used in IFRS and NDS. It is none other than expected loss framework, expected credit loss ECL framework. At what level India's external debt was placed at the end of the June 2025? So it was 747.2 billion USD. Acha, tell me the external debt to GDP ratio. For June 2025, external debt to GDP ratio, it was 18.9%. Okay, it was 18.9%. Which currency was having the largest share in the external debt? Obviously, it was US dollar. Dominance was 53.8%, right? What was India's debt service coverage ratio? Debt service ratio as of June 2025. Debt service ratio, important. 6.6%. 6.6%. Super duper important. Tell me this one. Larsen & Toubro L&T secured a multi-million-dollar facility from the International Bank, marking a step in linking the infrastructure financing in the ESG benchmark. What type of trade facility worth USD 700 million did the L&T secure from the Standard Chartered Bank? It was sustainability linked trade facility, option B. Sustainability linked trade facility, right? According to the NPCI's plan, UPI transaction can soon be converted into which type of repayment? Equated monthly investments, installments, EMIs. You can even pay it in installments. If there is a big payment, you can just convert it into EMIs, equated monthly installments. So that's all from my end for today, guys. We have revised the entire month of September, right? So I hope this session is valuable, and for those जिनको लगाओ कि मैं थोड़ा तेज़ पढ़ा रहा हूँ, I don't have any choice. हमको थोड़ा तेज़ ही पढ़ाना पड़ता है. अगर आपको स्लो में पढ़ना है तो रेगुलरली आप जो वीकली सेशन है वो आप देख सकते हो. इट्स एग्जाम टाइम एंड यू नीड टू पेस अप विद द स्पीड, right? And for those who want guidance, there's a rapid phase 1 revision batch of Oliveboard. You can check out the course highlights, and the link is there in the comment section, right? So thank you so much, guys. Bye bye, take care, see you soon in some other video. Best wishes.